To make them think that it's reality.
Well, dreams, they feel real while we're in them, right? It's only when we wake up that we realize something is actually strange.
Hey everybody, welcome into the QCO podcast for another Dream-isode. We want to thank you all for listening to the last one that, I don't know if it was our most exciting one, but it was pretty good.
I'd say it started off better
than how it ended.
and then it came to a whimper.
Let's just say this, guys. They're dreams. They're not all going to be winners.
I can only report what my subconscious conjured up that night. That one started off fast, and well, I don't know how fast it started off, but apparently to these guys, the image of a poor woman carrying a ice sculpture the size of a human being, a full-grown human, was comical.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was. We find little things to fixate on in pretty much every one of your dreams. And
well, your subconscious knew it was comical because the people in the dream found it comical.
That's true. That family said it was the funniest thing they had ever
the funniest
seen.
thing ever.
And so much so that they had to repay me in some facet, which is how I ended up on the adventure on the off-road trail.
So that was last week's. If if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. But this week we've got I'm assuming a good dream. Don't know what it's about.
This one I didn't accidentally post in our group me.
I'm completely in the dark on this one. So let's go ahead and just flip it on over and see what this one is called. So this dream is called, now this is volume 27. This is the 27th dream. We've been doing this for 27 weeks.
Plus we've had a couple of dream snips collections in there.
Whew. Let's just put this into perspective before we get going here. When's the last time that you could remember a full dream?
Me?
No, I'm just saying, like, people out there. Just think. When's the last time you can remember a full dream? Now think of 30 dreams that you can remember. Now, granted, had you not written these down originally, you probably wouldn't have remembered them all.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. But
there's probably been a handful that I can still remember from being like a kid.
Yeah.
That stuck with me for one reason or another. But yeah, like if I don't get them down within, 24 hours or so, then they're pretty much gone.
Now this all started, we've kind of talked about this a little bit ago, here and there, just kind of how it started. But, he just wrote this down one day. He had a dream, wrote it down, and thought it was funny. I read it, and it became almost kind of like we were just sitting there waiting for him to have more dreams. And then they started coming more frequently, like all the time, to the point where he was having way more dreams than we had time to actually record them.
I started getting a backlog
of dreams. Now, I don't know, maybe we're catching up, but yeah, I think as he's written them down, they say you exercise a muscle enough, it's going to get stronger. So he's exercising that brain or that memory muscle and muscle memory. Memory muscle.
I don't know. I mean, I like to think of my brain as being about the biggest out there.
Okay.
It's very muscly.
So gross. My brain is very muscly.
up the peaks and crevasses of the
Yes, they're very
cerebellum.
They're very defined.
but yeah, so just write down your dreams apparently, and you'll start remembering more of them. But
So are these? I have a question. Are these like HD, full HD when you have them?
I mean, it depends on what they need to be.
Like how crystalline clear are they?
I mean, you have dreams, right?
Yeah, but
Like they feel like they're real life usually in the dream. It's not like I typically
but it isn't
dream
until
in
you
like
wake up that you realize.
yeah, something strange. I don't think that most of the time I'm like dreaming in TV how it was like in the 90s where it was kind of grainy. So yes, they are more than HD. They're usually 4K or better.
well, that's pretty good.
All right. So this week's dream is called "The Future of Transportation is Here." Ooh. ...
What could the transportation be? Wait, this will be a good, just like a fun game. Before you start, what do you picture the future of transportation being if you were just taking a wild guess as to what it is? In my dream.
Beam me up, Scotty. Transportation.
Okay, transportation, which is transportation. Teleportation, that's what it's called.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I'm like, I don't think it's transportation.
I'm going to say you're wrong then, Alan.
Teleportation. Just kidding.
Okay, what's your answer, Trev?
Well, it's a dream. I'm going to say hovering horses.
Okay. So we got hovering horses versus teleportation. Let's see who is right.
Or a giant
Who is
platform ship with nozzle jets that just shoot water downward.
Ooh, or tubes.
That's a barge.
Like, you guys ever seen
No, like, what was that dream of yours when you had that?
it was a barge.
And I was like, anyone under that would just be obliterated by all the massive amounts of water coming out of those
Yeah,
jets.
it was a water-powered barge.
That's my guess.
Yeah, you guys ever seen Futurama?
Yeah,
They
it's
like
good.
transport by the tube. They just go like
It's like a bank tube.
like a bank tube. You just get sucked all over the place.
All right, so we have some ideas out there. If you're listening, think of your own, and let's see if anyone guesses correctly.
Okay. My wife and I are enjoying the I already ruined it. My wife and I are enjoying the tail end of our week-long trip to Japan. We have roughly 24 hours left before the trip is over, so we are trying to really soak in every moment before we have to head home. However, here's the kicker. For whatever reason, part of our Japanese tour brought us to San Francisco.
I know you can have layovers in San Francisco, like on your way there and back.
It was kind of weird, but they're like, here's Tokyo, here's Kyoto, and
Cairo.
San Francisco.
On your left, Tokyo. On your right, San Francisco.
And on your left again,
So I am in Hawaii,
Alcatraz.
facing north.
If you have ever seen the movie, I don't know why they're talking. I can't continue an Asian accent for some reason. It's like, for me, that one's the hard one. But it's like in Hero Big Six,
what do they
San
have?
Francisco.
Tokyo?
San Francisco. I don't know, something like that.
There's a combination of Tokyo and San Francisco.
Yep. Hence, we now have to leave San Francisco, fly back to Japan, and immediately catch our flight back to the United States, and ultimately get back to that is.
Yeah, that's why it's so frustrating that we went to San Francisco as part of our Japanese tour. Because we had to fly to San Francisco. Now we have to fly back home to catch our departing flight. Or we have to fly back to Japan to catch our departing flight back home.
Don't they have like a big Chinatown or Asia town in San Francisco?
You just thought you were in Tokyo, but you were really just in Chinatown in San Francisco.
Is it in San Francisco? I thought it was like
There's a lot of
LA or
Chinatowns.
something.
There's a lot of
San Francisco, I think, is known for having a.
There's
big
Chinatown
one.
in Philadelphia. I know that because I've been there. There's this place where they literally just had fortune cookies. That's it. So,
You guys remember that song though in Tokyo Drift? It's like na na Tokyo, na 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 Tokyo.
no.
If you know, how let it be Tokyo. If you seen it, then you mean it, then you know you have to go. Assembly.
お待ちどうさま喧騒まみれこの街の演奏玉たまま一度ついておいで世界中魅了するほどに豪華なジャパン一番ジャンプアランさうちらの出番テリヤキボーイズ in the place to be 見せてやろうリジナル VIP
Many, many diamonds dangling. Bag full of money.
But
It's goodbye, that's goodbye.
I don't really.
Something like that.
Yeah,
It's
I don't,
cool.
It's cool.
We should probably throw that in here when we do Sounders.
We can do that at the end. I personally feel that all of this extra travel seems very unnecessary, you think? But I get the airlines have weird layover destinations all the time, so I decide to just go with it. 24 hours later, I get back home and crawl into bed, since I know in the morning I have to be up bright and early, as it's the first day of the new school year. So now I'm curious. Are you going to school? He goes to school a lot in his dreams, but not quite sure why.
You always say I go to work, but now you're saying I go to school?
Yeah, but you just...
I guess I usually do end up either at work or at school.
But you're never at school. You're just always the same age that you are now. Just okay. Not quite sure why, but I'm back in high school once again. Not only am I going back to high school, but my house is far enough away from the school that I am required to be a school bus kid.
Do you know how frustrating that is?
He's like, bye, Liz. Love you. Puts on his little backpack and just like goes out and waits out in front of his house as he waits for the school to pick him up.
That's pretty accurate.
He's got his little lunch box that he's holding.
He's like a full-grown Forrest Gump.
But he's got a big enough backpack that you can seriously only see the bottoms, like from his calves down to his feet, and then just the top of his head.
just this giant backpack now.
With Hello Kitty on it.
Say Hello Kitty.
It's a very Japanese image.
I probably
Very.
bought it at the Chinatown in San Francisco.
The bus pulls up and I board at precisely 7:30 a.m. I'm a bit nervous to be taking the bus and definitely do not want to miss the bus after school. So, I stop and ask the bus driver where and at what time the bus picks us up after class gets out. He lets me know that the bus will pick us up at the same place it drops us off at 5:30 p.m.?
That's what I thought. My sentiments exactly.
I'm no dummy and instantly do the math in my head. I calculate that these are going to be some real long 10-hour school days. I figure I can at least use the couple hours between school ending and the bus arriving to get through most of my homework for the evening. Once at school, I locate my schedule and can see my first class of the day is gym. I head over to the gym locker room and begin getting ready for class. When I walk into the gym, a woman, whom I assume is the teacher, lets me know that due to the extreme success of the Me Too movement, that we no longer have segregated locker rooms, and instead all locker rooms are now co-ed. This is a bad idea.
That's what I thought too, but
Bull crap.
Things get changed a lot in political views.
I don't think that's what the Me Too movement was about.
Yeah, I think the Me Too movement is getting further away from men.
Yeah,
than
it was about women. It was about women being sexually harassed.
Yeah, let's
In this
let's a part
in
of the
this world.
let's a part of the
dream.
Me Too movement create more harassment. I don't think there's enough harassment in this world for us women.
Yeah, that makes more sense in hindsight, I guess. Just in this realm of the dream, apparently the Me Too movement was about less segregation, more like equality, co-edness.
Got it. So then she then also lets me know that we no longer will have lockers, but instead we'll each be assigned a cubby. That's a big difference. She then
like a cubby, you know, like
well, yeah, I know what
a little
I know what
shelf hole.
I know what a cubby
Why
is.
though? What's
This is part
these
of the,
lockers?
part
will
of
not do.
the Me Too movement.
We need to have all access to all your stuff.
I like smaller squares that you put things into, not taller rectangles
with doors.
She hands me a piece of paper with my cubby assignment on it. The little paper just has a row number and a corresponding cubby numeral on it. I make my way over to the designated row and find the cubby with my number on it. Yet another new feature they have implemented into gym class this year is that we are no longer required to bring our own gym clothes. Instead, the school provides us with a generic pair of gym clothes that are all washed, folded, pressed, and are just waiting for us inside. That's nice.
Yeah.
What is this?
I
The
thought.
island?
the island.
You've never seen the island?
Where they're like clones or something.
Yeah.
Is
So
that
like
like a show?
yeah, you've never seen the island? The movie, The Island with
They're like harvesting clones.
with
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor
Oh.
and Scarlett Johansson.
Maybe I have. Is that like
Like-
where they're like all those people are like in rows hanging? They're kind of in like blue neon lighting.
I don't know.
They just all have white.
Yeah,
clothes,
they're just all in
right?
white jumpsuits, but they always, whenever they go to their drawers, it's just somebody is always like put their clothes in there all nice and folded.
Oh
and clean.
wait, I think I have seen that. I have to rewatch it though. That's been a long time.
It's a great movie. But all right. Folded press and are just waiting for us inside our cubbies. We are then supposed to change into our gym clothes and head out to attend gym class. As soon as I find my newly assigned cubby, I begin to undress so that I can change into the required attire. Just then, my mom walks in and starts talking to me about this and that. I plead with her to talk. Mom!
I swear to God, our mom shows up in your dreams at the weirdest times.
I know. Sometimes it's frustrating.
Danny, you left before.
We need to talk.
You left before I could turn your eyes upside down. I don't. I don't know.
Get that reference.
Nobody is gonna get that, but okay. Sorry, Toshko, because I know you're probably listening. I just remember in our youth being at your house, okay, and this was your brother Steve. I just remember us like sitting up in the living room, and your mom made him lay on the couch with his head on her lap as she just rubbed her fingers over his eyeballs to get the creases out.
No. Okay. So she would always grow out her pinky finger nail, okay, which apparently was also a sign back, especially in the 90s, that, you know, you liked a little,
Yeah.
you know,
We're doing a bump every
little bump, yeah.
once in a while.
But she used this single elongated nail.
I wonder how many people actually thought she was a cokehead.
To run it or through the crease between your of your eyelid, like kind of
Above your eyeball.
above your eyeball, but below your bone, your orbital bone.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, and we would always be like, "Why do you do this to us?" And she tells us that if she doesn't do it, our eyes will turn upside down. But what it caused, it was especially for Tracy. She said that she's the youngest, so she had to deal with it the longest. Because the rest of us finally got to the point where we're like, no, we're not doing this anymore.
Stop.
And yeah, she still will blink sometimes in her eye. My mom has created like a second fold that it'll get it'll get caught in, and so she can like only open her eye like halfway until she
It's like you curse.
she closes
It's
it
a
and gets
curse.
it back to like the regular fold. But, yeah, I don't know. I still don't get it.
All right, so my mom walks in and starts talking to me about this and that. I plead with her to talk to me later, as this is just not a good time. But she just keeps on talking to me about random things. This interruption from my mother proves to be very distracting, and thus it takes me forever to get ready for gym class. To top off the non-stop jibber jabber from my mom, various girls from class walk in, get changed next to me, and head back out to the gym. All of this has me very sidetracked while trying to get ready. Sorry, I just wanted to input. Just be like, here I am, changing in gym class. My mom's here. Meanwhile, I'm watching girls get changed. Now I have a raging boner. And this is just the most awkward situation I can be in.
But I also know that I'm very conscious that I have to be super respectful with the whole situation because I don't want to be accused of anything.
Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold day. Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold day. So to say that
Danny just looks over at the girls and like hesitantly like mouths, "Me too."
To say that I'm unable to concentrate on what I'm doing would be an understatement. It isn't until I look down at myself after getting completely changed that I realize errors have occurred. After what I just said, that sentence just seems. He like looks down and he sees. He's like, "Uh-oh, error." Ooh, sorry, ladies. An error has occurred. My shirt is far too small and fits like a belly shirt. My shorts are way too high and tight. So much so that I can feel a breeze on my lower butt cheeks. My socks barely cover the front half of my foot, and the shoes they assigned me do not fit. It doesn't take me long to realize what had happened. The teacher had assigned me a girl's cubby.
This is the worst outfit you could wear in the middle of a Me Too movement. Like all the girls are just like, "You son of a bitch. You mocking us?"
The teacher had assigned me a girl's cubby, and this whole time I was trying to squeeze into a small female's gym clothes. At this point, I quickly took off the tiny gym clothes, put my original clothes back on, and left the gym in search of the teacher who had misassigned my cubby. I swiftly pinpoint the teacher and notify her about the mistake. She apologizes and professes that she is not sure how such a mistake could have happened. Is it that hard to understand that you put a bunch of guys and girls in a room and you assign them clothes and cubbies? There might be some wrong clothes put in the wrong
Could have
spot.
just been like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we gave you B16 instead of B19.
She then tells me she will work on getting me a new cubby assignment. However, in the meantime, I can sit down in music class and start working on things there. I agree to do just that. And so I turn the page and walk over to the music table. This table is just a bank of iPods that are bolted down and attached to headphones. Apparently, in this music class, you just sit there and listen to music. This would be a great music class. The whole time.
I wasn't complaining. I just,
Well, that's good, because the next line, not one to complain about this. I sit down at an empty spot at the table, put on the headphones, and start some music. As I sit there, I close my eyes and become consumed by the sweet sounds that are cascading into my ears. When I open my eyes, I'm in for a bit of a shock as I find myself walking onto a basketball court with 4 other guys. What?
Were you back into your little girl outfit there?
Not this time. I was like in a full-on man's clothes.
I quickly assessed the situation and realized that I must be playing for the school I must be playing for the school basketball team, and the game is about to begin. Closes his eyes, opens them again. He's like, ugh.
I probably in music class was listening to 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain.
Can't say it right.
100% reason to remember my name.
I look up at the scoreboard and can see that we haven't quite tipped off yet. So, since I'm on the floor at this time, it must mean that I'm the starting 2 guard on the team. Strangely, I don't even remember trying out for the basketball team. But if I'm starting, then it must be because the coach recognized my elite defensive skills at some point in the past.
That's all I could conclude. I mean, if I'm on the team, obviously.
You know commercials that like transition from scene to scene kind of fast? And it's like whoosh, to different like phases of your life or whatever.
Yes.
This is like a iPod commercial or something where it's like, do you feel like a little girl in little girl's gym's clothes? Listen to iPods on these Beats headphones and you become ready for the game.
That would be a good way to display it in a 5-second clip. Yes.
Over the course of the next week or so, we play in 2 nail bitters.
Did I not write biters?
You put 2 T's, so 2 nail bitters that came down to the wire. Luckily, we were able to win them both. We were now starting our 3rd game of the season, and my team and I came out of the gate like gangbusters. It wasn't long before we had ballooned our lead to 20 points. At about this time, I grabbed another defensive rebound, lobbed the ball up the court toward one of the streaking wings, who ends up getting hacked on his way to the basket. The ref blows the whistle, and sure enough, calls a foul. My teammate will now be taking 2 shots from the free throw line. He made
a flagrant foul or flagrant foul.
Just a standard 2-point foul on a shot. Like 2 free throws.
He makes the first free throw, and as the ref throws him to ball, as the ref throws him to ball, so that he may attempt his second free throw, everything around me suddenly goes into slow motion. I look up at the basket and envision the shot going wide left. I can tell by the trajectory of the ball that if this is the case, then I should be in prime position to secure the rebound and go back up for a layup. Sure enough, once my teammate released the ball, I could see that it indeed was going to miss slightly to the left. The ball bounced off the rim and right into my arms. I secured the ball and then went back up to lay it in. Unfortunately, I missed the layup.
So you just briefly...
The more you get into this dream, the more I realize I don't know how much this was a dream and was a nightmare.
So you briefly became Sherlock Holmes. Just completely. He's like, I don't know.
According to
what the answer is.
According to the trajectory, it will bounce off to the left. Should bounce right into my arms, where I will be able to make a swift layup. The ball did as I thought. Bounced off to the left, into my arms. I went up and missed it. This is the second dream that we've used the Sherlock Holmes
scene.
This was extremely embarrassing to have occur in front of the whole school.
It was.
But I regained...
How many embarrassing things are going to happen to you?
That's what I said.
Was this less embarrassing or more embarrassing than the first thing?
The first thing wasn't in front of the whole school, but it was more embarrassing.
This is basically Danny's version of just waking up or like having a dream of just sitting in your underwear in class. But I was able to keep my composure. Secured another rebound. Went back up again, and this time I made it. Thank goodness the ball went in this time, I thought to myself, as it severely dampened the feeling of embarrassment. The opposing coach called a timeout as soon as my shot went through the hoop, as they were now down by 23. During the timeout, my coach decided to pull all of the starters from the game. We were all a little disappointed at first, but he explains to us that since we are up by so much, that this would be a good time to get the bench players some much-needed playing experience. Honestly, I'm pretty tired and winded and welcomed the break.
I just had to grab 2 rebounds that are...
As I stand on the sidelines, watching the game unfold. The sidelines? Is that what they call them?
Yeah.
Courtside? Okay.
Well, I mean, could call it courtside
Stand on the
too.
sidelines, watching the game unfold. I can see that everyone on my team is wearing a blue jersey. And when I look down at myself, I'm wearing a freaking yellow jersey.
You're wearing the wrong jersey.
And then
This should have been called wardrobe malfunction.
yeah, what did he call it?
Future of transportation is here.
What the hell? We haven't even gotten to transportation. The hell? It should. Yeah, you spent so much time on your wardrobe. Man, I am. All right, hold on. I totally lost where I was. Okay, I'm wearing a yellow jersey. I then check the inside of my jersey and can see that it is a reversible jersey and that I had been wearing and playing with it inside out. I then take off my jersey to switch it out to the blue side. The next thing I remember, my jersey swapping must have gotten out of control. What does that mean? He's like... It's just like his jersey's like his head gets caught in it and he's just like running out onto the court, his hands all up and just like as I found myself sitting on the gym floor butt naked.
What?
I told you it got out of control.
You don't have to take off your pants.
I had my jersey laying over my junk so that no one could see it.
Oh,
But
that saves you. The embarrassment.
he like takes off his shirt and just like when he looks up, he's just laying mid-court, just out there, totally butt naked with his jersey just hanging over his junk. It's like, something seems weird here.
Your coach walks up to you.
Obviously got out of control.
Your coach walks up to you, stares at you, and just nods his head and shakes his head and is like, and you want to be my starting guard.
I had my jersey laying over my junk so that no one could see it, but was struggling to figure out how to put my underwear back on without flashing anybody. This did not prove to be an easy feat.
I'm sure you flashed people taking it off.
Okay. I just want you guys to think of this, okay? You have to picture this. Not Danny's junk, but picture this. You're sitting in the stands, obviously super quiet right now because there is a naked kid laying in the middle of the court, okay? No sounds are going on except for the except for the random like screeching of like
piece of skin on
no,
court.
well, the skin or like sneakers on a court of him trying to put his underwear back on. Just everybody's just staring like. So he's just like.
You meant this squeaking's coming from Danny.
Yeah.
Because I'm butt naked except for I still have my sneakers on.
All right. Figure out how to put my underwear back on without flashing anybody. This did not prove to be an easy feat, and it took me a very long time to very carefully get redressed. At this time, I was grateful that our bench players had basically maintained our 20-point lead. That's what you're grateful for?
After like 30 seconds, I imagine Danny just be like, look away. Look away.
Thus, not requiring the starters to check back in the game at this moment. Yeah, because that would be embarrassing. Eventually, after what seemed to be a very long time, the game buzzer went off, and I could hear the announcer let everyone in the gym know that it was now halftime. All this happened before halftime?
Apparently.
It seemed crazy to me that it was only halftime. So I proceeded to chase down a cheerleader and asked her if this game seemed like it was taking a long...
The way you guys put it, though, this is totally anti-me, too.
Exactly.
Because right after I'm like butt naked in the middle of the court, I'm chasing down a cheerleader.
Asked her if this game seemed like it was taking a lot longer than the other games. She looked at me with a hint of confusion and a smile on her face and says... Nope. We were right on schedule and on par to finish at roughly the same time as the other games had. Okay.
It's a southern belle.
This perplexes me a bit, and I fall back a few feet, trying to figure out why this game felt so... Why'd you fall back?
He's
like whoa. Whoa. Like his pure confusion has knocked him off of his feet. Like he stumbles back. Like, does this game seem like it's going a lot longer? No, it's we're right on schedule and right on par for it to end at the same time that it always does. It's that information. Oh my gosh. I fall back a few feet.
Right day.
He's like, I rarely get naked in the middle of the court during the first half.
Yeah, usually when I'm naked and out there, it is like the end of the fourth. That's my celebration. Now, fall back a few feet trying to figure out why this game felt so much longer than the previous game. Then it dawned on me. I had been leaving the game after the first quarter. First quarter goes off and he's like, we won! He's like, everybody in the locker room! He just like runs off himself. He's like, what the hell is this kid doing?
I never finished a game before, I guess. Like,
I would hear the buzzer go off at the end of the first quarter and would then just walk off the court and head to the locker room. I love that I can foresee the things that you do. I change and go home.
You're the kid that everyone always just says behind their back, bless his heart.
I know. Basically, this just reminds me of Lloyd when he's like, we landed on the moon.
This would make like the perfect Dumb and Dumber scene, like Dumb and Dumber when they were kids.
At this moment, I personally vowed never to leave the game early again and proceeded to walk down the tunnel into the locker room. Once in the locker room, I noticed how thirsty I was and went looking for a drinking fountain. Unfortunately for me, this school is also known for its superior arts program, and this year several of the students wanted to express themselves artistically by installing fake non-working drinking fountains all along every wall in the locker room. So, I had no idea which of the many drinking fountains was real and had actually running water spewing from its pipes. I was then forced to just scoot along the walls, trying each drinking fountain one by one in hopes of finding the one that would give me a much-needed dose of H2O. Finally, after many attempts, I'm able to locate the real drinking fountain and quench my thirst. As I step away from the drinking fountain, I look down at my feet to see that I had forgotten to put my shoes back on after my old jersey flipping debacle on the sidelines. I figure my shoes are still on the court and head back up to get them. As I figure, as one of the better players, I'll be starting the second half of the game.
Gotta be prepared.
I don't know. I'd probably say second half play is reserved for those who don't streak. Just lay there naked in the middle of the court.
That was just a jersey flipping accident. It just got out of hand.
What is this that I see? Daniel Barnes, the 2 guard, is walking out in the middle of the court totally butt naked. And now he's just laying down? Well, thank heavens he's got his jersey covering his junk, or else we'd all get a surprise. Let's see. However, as I emerge from the tunnel and head out onto the court to retrieve my shoes, I'm suddenly transported to a wide open field, on which I can only assume is farmland. I look down at my hands and can see that I'm carrying a clipboard and a pen. I then hear a loud rumble as the ground around me begins to shake. I look up and see a large bus-sized caterpillar rolling down a big, several 100-foot high, man-made dirt pile located in the middle of an open field. The huge creature comes crashing down right in front of me with an enormous crackling thud. The dirt and dust around me puffed up in the air.
So many unneeded pauses.
You know what? You know what? When you've had a nightmarish first half of a dream like that, this is a welcome sight.
Then eventually began to settle. Sadly, this sudden increase of fine airborne debris made its way into my eyes, mouth, ears, and hair. I stood there for a moment, then brushed off what I could of the sandy mess and presumed to spit out the dirt that had gotten into my mouth. Yeah, I think we're just going to finish this in this accent. While I was self-grooming, the large animal had regained its poise and began to stand up in front of me. A caterpillar?
Yeah.
Big old caterpillar just standing
I like how
in
you
front of
said the first time. Caterpillar.
Caterpillar. After it had found its footing, it then raised one of its
Found its footing. It doesn't have like 20 legs or something.
So it takes it a minute to find it.
Meanwhile,
Not
he's
the
just
right
standing
combo.
there. He's like, don't worry, big caterpillar guy. I can wait. You take your time. You find your footing. It then raised one of its many legs and basically unzipped a pouch located on its back. As the pocket on the giant caterpillar's back opened, a gooey slime-covered pod emerged and opened.
Gooey, slime, covered, pod.
Well, it was the next line. So I have to make sure that I get the right line. Inside the pod was a mother and her baby, both of whom were completely unharmed.
Wait, what? Inside the pod was what?
Okay. Let's just backtrack here and reiterate what is going on. Closes his eyes, wakes up. He's in a farmland. Meanwhile, the ground starts to rumble, and he sees in front of him a big-ass caterpillar.
A bus-sized.
Bus-sized caterpillar. Takes a minute, but it finds its footing, stands up, reaches its one of its legs back on his back, and unzips maybe what could be a giant fanny pack. Inside the fanny pack is a bunch of slime. Inside the slime is a mother and her baby.
It's a pod inside the
slime is
slimy pod.
Now, is this a human mother? Or or is this a caterpillar?
A mother.
A human mother and her baby.
I thought it was the caterpillar's mother and baby.
Yeah.
No, a human mother.
Inside the pod was a mother and her baby, both of whom were completely unharmed. They had survived a tremendous fall without a scratch on them. Suddenly, I remember what I'm doing here. I have been working on a top secret program in which we were designing and building biological transportation alternates that are supposed to be much safer for the riders than traditional vehicles. This caterpillar just so happened to be one of the first working prototypes we had constructed. Now that I could remember what I was working on, I became extremely excited about this most recent success. I then ran over to help the mother and the baby get out from the caterpillar's back. This is so strange. I confirmed that they are indeed fine. And then the pair of us just stare at this beautiful monstrosity. I tell the mother that she is now looking at the future of the transportation industry.
Is this like what was it called? Totoro or what's the thing with the big giant bus-sized cat?
I think it was
Totoro.
Totoro.
Where it's like wow.
I forgot about that movie.
Jumping through the trees.
It's like this. I tell the mother that she is now looking at the future of the transportation industry.
Trav waves his hand through the air.
This revolution will make travel safer for everyone. This is when I woke up.
How? Because caterpillars don't collide. They're really soft and gushy. So if they do,
basically, they would insert the mother and the child inside of a pod. There's a pocket inside of the caterpillar, and so the caterpillar itself was basically protecting them from this ginormous fall off this huge hundreds of feet tall dirt pile that crash landed, then stood up, and they were totally fine.
Why did it crash land?
Where's it coming from? It fell down the hill. It fell down the giant man-made dirt pile.
That's how it transports? It doesn't just walk through it with its legs? It's just let's roll down the hill?
I think normally it would walk, but we were testing, it's like a crash test. So, I mean...
Well, ma'am, you've just been witness and part of the future of the transportation industry. Travel by caterpillar. Fanny pack pod slime.
You just have to bring a change of clothes every time you go somewhere. Wash off all the slime.
Okay, the pod itself protected you from the slime. It was dry inside the pod.
Oh, so it was like a capsule.
Yeah, that you were sitting in while you were transported.
In pod.
I was imagining a cocoon Bug cocoon
So it
pod.
goes person in pod, pod in slime, slime in fanny pack on caterpillar.
Almost, but it's more like person in pod, pod in slime, slime inside of caterpillar. There's like a pouch that we've engineered.
Like
inside,
like a marsupial
Yeah.
pouch, like a kangaroo.
inside the caterpillar. But
Fanny
so
pack.
it can like,
It's basically a fanny pack.
but it can zip.
a fanny pack. Why are we not
But
saying
it's not
the words
on
that
top. It's not on top of the caterpillar. It's inside the caterpillar.
it doesn't matter?
Because
So it's like if you put the fanny pack inside your belly.
I guess
then-
caterpillars don't have fannies.
Well, you may not. I mean, they might. We just don't know exactly where it is. But anyway, Kate, this one by far is the strangest one you have ever had.
This one is of
Yes,
all the others?
of all the others.
Why?
Like there are others that are, I don't know. I mean, they're strange, but this one just. I don't even know. How do you come up with the future of transportation is riding inside a giant caterpillar?
I don't know. My subconscious did.
I do want to say that, I mean, if we're taking into consideration our choices, I was the closest.
Why? What'd you say?
Hovering horses. So, I mean, I wasn't that close, but I was
guess
at
it was-
least in
it
the
was an
animal
animal.
kingdom.
And I mean, it fell. It didn't really hover.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys, for listening to that. That was crazy. Comment, find us on Twitter, Facebook. Okay, we don't really use Twitter. I mean, we tweet, but we tweet from Instagram, so I don't really get it. But at least find us on
Instagram
Facebook
and
or Instagram.
are our main-
yeah.
main,
We're going to post it. Listen to this. If you're listening to this, go just tell us how crazy this dream was. This was freaking weird. Like, I just don't want to be the only one thinking this. This is crazy. This
that
is weird
and,
stuff.
or at least just tell two friends
Tell two friends
who then
Just say,
can tell two friends.
like, have you ever had a dream like this? Then have them listen to this. And
if everyone tells two friends in a very short amount of time, the whole world will
he
know.
first cross-dressed.
Danny loves pyramid schemes.
Then he does love pyramid schemes, guys. He's been a part of like at least 3 or 4 of them. But and every single time he calls me about it, like you feel obligated to listen because you're like, yeah, I'm your friend, but like I'm not gonna buy anything. I'm not gonna buy into it.
I know Trav never signs up.
Yeah, I don't want to sign up. Anyway, all right, yeah.
No, it's not a pyramid because it's not 3-dimensional. It's a triangle.
It's just a triangle.
Just a triangle scheme. So yeah, Facebook, Instagram at QCO Podcast. You can also visit our website, QCOpodcast.com. And of course, we're YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, all those
Really,
things.
anywhere you can find
Anywhere you can
podcasts.
find podcasts, you can find us because that's how we are.
And if you're listening to this right now, chances are you already found us.
Yep, you figured it out.
So-
Good job for you.
teach others.
So, yes, thank you everybody for listening, and be sure to tune in on Fridays to get our regular Q Code episodes, and then of course these are on Mondays. So catch us next week for another adventure in Danny's subconscious. Ooh.